and they win the NFC South.
What's good, everybody? Let's talk some Tampa sports. A little bit over a week away, training camp begins. Finally, we can finally get some storylines going. And, based on what the team's looking like, this guy's looking good, that guy's looking good, preseason, regular season, and we're good from there, right? I mean, July, at least the start of July, it's definitely the most rough. Just quiet on the football front. Unfortunately, we got some really bad news last week that I didn't make a video on, so I'm not going to stick on it too much. Of course, Tristan Wirfs ending up needing surgery that will require him to miss the start of the season. That hurts because that means he's not going to be able to go through training camp and get those practices in with the guys. Fortunately, he is an all-pro. Knee injuries is something he's been dealing with for a little bit now. I wish he could have got it earlier in the offseason, but they didn't. It didn't seem like they thought it was required then, and then all of a sudden he goes in for testing and they see some damage that they're like, okay, you need to get surgery, and fortunately he's going to miss the start of the season. But I am glad, he's getting that surgery, and hopefully that can put the knee issues behind him and we can just ball out going forward. It's Tristan Wirfs. I'm not too worried about it. His work ethic is there. He's going to continue to show up day after day, motivate the guys in the locker room, motivate the guys at practice, and be that leader. But today we are talking about positional battles going into training camp, some positions that are up for grabs, you may say. And there's some guys that have held this position or some positions for a few years now that, that position's up for grabs. And let's go ahead and jump right into it. Mr. Jamel Dean has been the brunt of a ton of criticism from the fan base. Honestly, Pro Football Focus does like what Jamel Dean does when he is on the field, giving him a 75 overall grade, which is 26th in the NFL. Not bad at all. Coverage grade, well above average. Run defense grade, a little bit above average. Really, the issue with Jamel Dean is staying on the field, making the money that he does, not being able to play. It's an issue. Best ability? Thank you. And he just hasn't been able to do that. 6'1", 206 pounds, 28 years old. He's talented. There's no denying that. I know he has haters where, as I'm saying this, you're probably going to be like, he's not talented. He's talented. Very injury prone. Jason Light, our favorite GM, who we all think is the best GM in the league, paid him for a reason. And when he was a free agent, testing the market a little bit, pretty much all of the fan base was like, yes, we need to resign Jamel Dean and keep that pairing of him and Carlton Davis together. We need to remember that. Like, he is a talented corner when fully healthy. Unfortunately, he just has not been fully healthy and living up to that contract. Yeah. His competition is, of course, the Buccaneers' second-round pick in Benjamin Morrison out of Notre Dame. Very similar build. Jamel Dean, 6'1", about 205. Benjamin Morrison, 6 foot, 195. So, like I said, very close there. He does what Jamel Dean does not do, and that is be a playmaker, be a ball hawk. In 2.5 seasons, we'll call it, due to his injuries last year at Notre Dame, 9 interceptions in 2.5 years. Jamel Dean, 1 interception last year, I believe. Yep, against the Chargers. Like I said, simply put, he does what Jamel Dean doesn't. And he does what we've been asking of Jamel Dean for a long time now at this point, which is catch the ball. Make a game-changing play. It's nice that you are solid when you're playing, but make a game-changing play. It just hasn't been there. So, big matchup for that cornerback 2 spot. Zion McCollum, we can all say, has that cornerback 1 slot secured. Everything I'm hearing, he looks as best as he's ever been from coaching staff, what they've said, Jason Light, and now going on to that cornerback 2, Jamel Dean, Benjamin Morrison, positional battle. Sticking in the secondary, let's go to the nickelback position where Christian Izien, obviously 2 years ago now, came in as an undrafted rookie, made some crazy plays that really the fan base hyped up to the max. And I mean, deservedly so. Like he saved that opening game against the Vikings in Minnesota in 2023, and continue to play very well after that. Let's go to his numbers in 2023, and you'll see the difference in his play. I mean, overall grade is above average. That was as an undrafted rookie. His run defense, phenomenal. 17th is what they had him ranked. Coverage grade also slightly above average. Going to 2024, let's just be honest. He kind of got his job took by Tyke Smith. Let's just be real. And his grades when he was on the field were not good, unfortunately. So now, what do the Bucs do? 3rd round pick. They say, okay, we're not confident in that position where, we are assuming and projecting Tyke Smith to move to safety with Antoine Winfield Jr. That leaves the nickel position with just Christian Izien. They go ahead and draft Jacob Parrish in that 3rd round. And there's your competition. There's your positional battle right there. An extremely, extremely athletic Nickelback. 90 athleticism score, which includes a 4.35 40-yard dash, a 1.51 10-yard split. Very good vertical, very good broad jump for a guy that's only 5'10", 190. And I mean, based on projections, going back to Benjamin Morrison, they have him ranked as the 5th best cornerback coming out of the draft. And Jacob Parrish, they have him ranked as the 7th best cornerback coming out of the draft. So the Bucs knew what their weakness was. They attacked it strongly, which, fair. I wouldn't say Christian Izien isn't a playmaker. Like I said, he had some big interceptions in his rookie year. I think he had 1 interception last year. That's right. And, he is pretty solid in the run game. Like I showed before, very good in his rookie year, pretty average last year. Jacob Parrish just brings, someone who may be a little bit more physically talented. Like I said, his athleticism is through the roof. And his play, very aggressive. If you watched any of his Kansas State highlights, love the way he tackles. And it's going to be a fun battle. Going to be a fun battle for sure. There's a severe thunderstorm outside right now, which is why I'm recording this at 5:30 and it's like pitch black in my room. So I'm going to go turn a light on because it feels weird doing this. Okay, it's much better, much more natural. We're going to stick on the defensive side of the ball for the next position, and that's going to be, let's just call it the first outside linebacker off the bench. With all of these, everyone is going to play. Jamel Dean's going to play. Benjamin Morrison's going to play. Jacob Parrish is going to play. Christian Izien's going to play. David Walker's going to play. Anthony Nelson's going to play. Chris Braswell's going to play. Hopefully more than he did last year. But all of these guys are going to play. This is just, guys we're going to look at for battling out in the position because it's a real thing. I mean, guys have to push each other, battle with each other to, earn their spot. There's only 53 spots on a roster. Like I said, all these guys are going to play, but there's a pecking order. There is. Let's start with Braswell. A guy I was super high on coming out of Alabama last year. Bucs drafted him in the 2nd round. I mean, that's high stock on a guy who barely played last year. Truly barely played. And I don't know what the reason is. Like, I've never heard anything, tangible or real to grab onto when it comes to why Chris Braswell didn't play last year. Like, Joe Tryon-Shawinka was in front of him. Like, why could Chris Braswell not get playing time over him? You see what I'm saying? What's the reason? Was he seriously just not there when it comes to playing in the NFL yet? Was it they just had favoritism towards Joe and wanted to, truly see in his contract year if they needed to pay him or not? I don't know what it was. But I'd love to see him a lot more on the field this year because, like I said, a 2nd round pick, a guy that everyone, raved about bringing him in, and you just really don't see much of him. It's kind of just head scratching, and I feel like he's kind of an afterthought at this point. Like, not too many people talking about him. Of course, we bring in Hassan Reddick, so it's not like he has to jump in and, like, fight for a starting spot. We got Yaya, we got Hassan. We're all good there. But definitely a guy I want to see more of. I don't have much to, like, talk about based on on-field play because we just didn't get to see him. Next, let's go to the veteran, Anthony Nelson. All reliable. He's going to do his job. He's going to do it pretty well. He's not going to light anything up. He's Anthony Nelson, and we all love him. I don't ever see Anthony Nelson run onto the field, during one of Todd Bowles' hockey changes on the defensive line, and I'm like, oh my gosh, here comes Anthony Nelson. He's not going to be able to do anything. No, I'm good with Anthony Nelson. I'm cool with Anthony Nelson, and he's going to do what he does. Does he have the highest ceiling of these three? No, he probably has the lowest, but he also probably has the highest floor. You know what you're going to get out of Anthony Nelson. And I'm good with that. I'm good with that. Him being, that backup, you know what you're going to get. The effort, the fight. There's nothing wrong with that. Shout out Anthony Nelson. And then David Walker out of Central Arkansas, the Bucs draft pick this year, 4th round, and a guy that everyone, once again, is raving about. Not your typical edge build, like lanky, like just this, like, Hassan Reddick type of guy or Yaya Diaby type of guy. Like, he's a little bit more shorter and stockier, closer to like a Shaq Barrett type build, similar to Shaq Barrett. What brings him success is not his size or his like physical traits. It is just his ability to rush the passer. He has so many moves in his back pocket and does them all very well. And despite playing at Central Arkansas, I have confidence in him. I have confidence in him to show up. And like I said, despite, I don't want to call him physical limitations because, it's just motivation, honestly. I expect him to show up, play very well, and I think a lot of Bucs fans agree. Probably the biggest, sleeper of the draft, I guess we can call it. Everyone has high hopes. So him, Braswell, Anthony Nelson battling out for, once again, they're all play, but we'll say for that first guy off the bench as an edge rusher. Next, let's go to receivers. A lot to talk about here, and just for the sake of not making this video super long, I'll probably end it with this receiver group. Wide receiver 3. Let's stick to that. Emeka Egbuka, Jalen McMillan. I mean, we are loaded at receiver. The fact that we are talking, one of these guys has to play wide receiver 4. That's insane. That is insane. You got Mike 1, Chris 2. And with Chris Godwin, really not going to be doing anything during training camp because of his injury, still recovering from that, likely to miss the start of the season. We're going to get to see this battle like firsthand. Like, they're both going to be out there on the field with Mike Evans because one of them's going to have to play wide receiver 2 for Chris, which slots the other guy in wide receiver 3. That's exciting. That's entertaining. Emeka, I think he's going to come right into the NFL and just be able to play right away. I think he has that much talent, that much fight, and just loves football that much that he's been training, getting ready mentally, playbook. All I've heard is great things about him, his personality, his attitude. And then Jalen McMillan, the guy who, drafted him last year, raved about him during training camp last year, and had to kind of slowly ramp it up throughout the season to where you got to the end of the season and he was balling out. Had some weird moments where he just wasn't playing. Was he injured? Was he not taking care of his body? Rumors here and there. But by the time the end of the season came around, I mean, who does not have confidence in Jalen McMillan? The dude is talented as hell. And like I said, the fact that one of these two guys has to play wide receiver 4, has to come off the bench, is insane to me. It's insane. They both will be starters going into the year, likely with Chris Godwin, like I said, but, come week 5, week 6, whatever, hopefully Tristan and Chris are back by that time. This offense is loaded, boy. Loaded. And then let's go to wide receiver 5 and wide receiver 6. Last year, the Bucs went into the year with 5 wide receivers on the roster. This year they may go 6 just because how many options they have. So I have them here. We got Trey Palmer, of course, kind of gotten a little forgotten about last year, even with the injuries to Mike and Chris, like just never really like stepped into a role and like made his name or like, okay, I am this guy to step in for that wide receiver 4 spot. We knew Jalen McMillan was ahead of him, but he just never like stamped his name like I'm the wide receiver 4. When you have Mike and Chris out, that's your opportunity to do it, and it just never happened. Tez Johnson, Bucs' final pick in the draft. I think a personality that just everyone absolutely loves. The guy's entertaining, fun. The fact that he has these connections to Bucky Irving and they have similar play styles despite playing different positions. I would love to see Tez make the roster, and I cannot wait to see what he does in training camp and preseason. I want him to get a ton of playing time during preseason. I want to see him play, punt returner, kick returner, slot receiver, just gadget plays, reverse. I want to see him do everything. I want to see what he can bring to this team as a 7th round pick, and as much hype that he's getting. I hope he does make the team. I wish him all the best. I love his personality, and I like I said, wish him the best. Nothing other than that. Next, let's go to Sterling Shepard, the veteran of this group. Had some good moments last year, had some bad moments last year. Buddies with Baker Mayfield, not getting paid much. So, like, if he is a veteran that we just kind of like move off from, it's not really that big of a deal. I'd say being a veteran gives him an advantage, but it's not like he plays special teams, really. He's not, returning kicks or punts. And from a veteran, I feel like you expect a little bit better of, like, in-game mentality, not causing penalties and things like that. And unfortunately, kind of fell into that a little bit last year. That's things you would expect from, a Tez Johnson coming in as rookie or a Trey Palmer in his second year, like, not from a Sterling Shepard who's been around for years now at this point. So based on the way I'm talking about him, you can probably assume that I don't think he'll make the cut. When you're looking at the guys that we have here, if they go 5, I don't think he makes the cut. 6, he definitely has a chance, when you're competing with Trey Palmer. And then Raheem Jarrett, still on the roster, still in the mix, dealt with injuries last year, but he made the rare times that he did play, he made a couple good plays. Once again, not a guy that took the opportunity when Mike and Chris was out and said, I want to be that wide receiver forward. Just didn't happen. Cam Johnson, a guy everyone raved about last year during training camp, ended up getting injured. We never got to see him. Still on the roster. Can he make some noise? Like, there's so much depth at receiver. It is crazy. It's crazy. Some other ones that I'm not going to dive into. Backup tight end, Payne Durham, Devin Culp. I feel like Payne Durham, has been that guy since we drafted him. But Devin Culp, I think we liked what he showed a little bit last year when he did begin to play a little bit more. Specifically, the game that comes to mind is that Carolina game at home. But also in that Carolina game at home, that was probably Payne Durham's best game of the year as well. So interested to see what that positional battle could look like. And then linebacker next to Levante David. Do they go Servassier Dennis? They bring in Anthony Walker Jr. What does that battle look like? We know on this channel I'm a Servassier Dennis guy. That's who I want to take over that role and, be that linebacker for the future. But we'll see. The injury issues has been a thing. Hopefully he's fully recovered and can just, fully attack this training camp and preseason and solidify himself, go into the season healthy and have an amazing year like I know that he is capable of. But hey, they bring in a veteran, Anthony Walker Jr., who definitely provides more depth, better depth than J.J. Russell or K.J. Britt, so that's exciting. And yeah, just another position that we get to watch the battle play out. That's going to be it for me, though. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please leave your comments down below. Like and subscribe if you have not already. Apologies for the lack of uploads. Life has just been doing what life does, unfortunately, and going to try and ramp it up here with training camp beginning very, very soon. So, once again, thank you guys so much. Go Bucs. You have a blessed one.
Hey, hey, Tampa Bay.